So this is pretty new formatting for me, so it's kind of weird to record like this, but this is basically just pre-recorded video of me painting and I wanted to sort of speak over it. As a Christian, I feel as if this is one of the more important stories within my testimony, which I never spoke about, mostly because I just forgot it even happened. But recently, I started just randomly fearing the darkness of my room, and I got reminded of a couple dreams which I had, which I want to speak about to you guys. So the very first dream which I want to speak about is when I was an atheist. So during that period of time, just know I was a very stubborn, like, Reddit type of atheist. I wasn't really on Reddit, but I was still that type of atheist without Reddit. I was really annoying. I would constantly debate Christians and call them cultists and etc. Just a bunch of terrible stuff. I myself do not support the behavior which I inhabited within those years, and it was just this really cringy period of my life, and I was still doing YouTube during this period of time, keep that in mind. And I was making videos about other people saying, oh, how much we should respect different beliefs, respect Islam, respect Christianity, but I was just dog watering on Christianity specifically. So one night I went into my bed and I ended up having like almost sleep paralysis at this point, and I didn't even entirely know what that meant at the time. You see, I was a consistent bed rotter, so any dreams that I would usually have were about my bed in my room because I just wouldn't be going outside. I was just consistently depressed in my room every single day, every minute, in my room, like genuinely, that was all that there was to my life. Well, I don't think this is the key definition of sleep paralysis. I think it was pretty close. So basically, I had this dream that I just woke up during the middle of the night. I couldn't move my arms, I couldn't move my legs, I could only really move my hands, and I sort of started to feel something crawl up me, and me being the type of person that I am, so incredibly paranoid of the dark despite me being an atheist, I just immediately went to it being a demon. Keep in mind, I didn't believe in God, didn't believe in Allah, no belief whatsoever. I immediately knew what it was before even seeing what it was. And this is not the first time I've had a dream like this. Do you know when you have those dreams where you're not even fully asleep, but you're just like slightly asleep and it just scares you into waking up? Well, one day I decided to take a nap because it was like early in the morning, but I was still kind of tired, and I closed my eyes and I had one of those and I could hear a voice. But before that, I sort of heard a sound effect which I can't really explain other than when you enter a boss level in a video game. You know, I have a pretty innocent mind when it comes to this, but it was definitely more scarier than that and much more demonic than what I can describe with words. Editing me because I feel as if I left out a lot of information. It literally said in the dream, like as clear as day, Lucifer. Keep in mind, I've never referred to the devil as Lucifer ever. The only time that I've ever thought of Lucifer is because of the TV show, which I've never watched ever in my life, and I've only thought about maybe once in my life after seeing it on Netflix for like a split second, and seeing the character on The Flash for also like a split second before I stopped watching The Flash. The other demons, I don't recall it or name, but I do remember one of them like starting with an L. It was in this very weird language which I couldn't understand, which I can't translate either because I don't know what it was. It sort of felt like a demonic version of tongues, like if the devil was trying to literally copy God's language into his own sort of thing. And I heard a voice which essentially just said that you're being infected by 3 types of demons. The voice can only be described with like a horror analog. Keep in mind, I never dabbled in any form of horror analog. This was during a time where I had my old channel and maybe I watched a few videos, but I was never truthfully interested in it. I think the only time I've ever been introduced into anything that is even remotely about it is during my MatPat phase, which was years ago when I didn't even start a YouTube channel. And this was during my Gacha Life phase, but we don't consider that because I don't like talking about it. It gives me PTSD, but it was still like very creepy. Within the years of me just becoming progressively more Reddit type of atheist, I would just see stuff around my house that wasn't actually there. And as I got more and more mentally ill, I thought that I was going crazy because of this, but this wasn't even the symptoms of anything that I had had within the recent years. I wasn't schizophrenic, didn't have psychosis, I was suffering with depression and eating disorder and hypersexuality. That had nothing to do with what was happening. I suffered with a lot of like compulsive related things, but that had nothing to do with psychosis or any of the stuff which I was experiencing. It just felt more and more like I was going insane, and I couldn't really speak to anybody about this because I just felt as if people would literally call me crazy. Because I've tried to explain my whole entire testimony to people. Some people don't even believe it to begin with. They don't believe that I was healed. They just believe it was a coincidence. honestly, I've just stopped trying to explain to people the grace of God and everything else which he has done for me, because I realized that I just can't please everybody. Sometimes I still go through religious OCD, and it's a battle every single day to literally fight for my mental health, but regardless of what's happening within my life, I've just stopped trying to please people. I'm no longer scared of the dark because I know that the only thing that is within the dark just can't come into the light to begin with. That's why they're dwelling in the dark. As a Christian, I think it's so important to know that if you are saved with the blood of Jesus, the demons physically cannot possess you. Certainly, they can hurt you in different ways, but they can never possess you. I stopped going through the stuff which I originally went through because I started to realize that Jesus did actually love me and he had a plan for me regardless of what I was going through. I realized that I did nothing but just like prevail against a God who did literally nothing but create me and want a life for me and genuinely want me to go to heaven with him. So that's it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed. It's kind of a weird topic, but goodbye.